What have I learned? I learned about this. I'm a self-deprecating little tit, and I need to be more forgiving of myself. Hey, this is Sam Fender, and this is behind the scenes for my Rolling Stone cover shoot. I think a lot of my first early influences were just the stuff that my dad and my mother were playing around the house. So it was everything from sort of Donny Hathaway to the Beatles and Aretha Franklin and Steely Dan and all the old great stuff, you know. And then my brother got us into the sort of Tom Petty's of the world, you know, Tom Petty, Neil Young, Joni Mitchell, Bruce Springsteen, obviously, and also stuff in the 90s like Nirvana and Oasis and all of the Britpop era and all of that, and all of the grunge stuff as well. So I think I've got a lot of big inspirations from my childhood, particularly. But I think if I was gonna stick to one, I love my songwriters, you know. I love like my classic songwriters. I think the second record's better, personally. It's a lot more personal. And the first album kind of felt like a collection of songs over the course of 5 years, you know. Whereas this one's seems more sort of, feels like it has a sort of continuity running through it. Feels like it has more of a theme. It feels more cohesive as a record, I think. And I think I've grown up a bit, you know. You have this kind of fearlessness that you write when you're like 21, when you're writing, then you kind of think you know everything, you know. Whereas I hit 25 and I was just like, I don't know a thing. So this second record sort of, I feel like, a bit more grounded and a bit more sort of, pretty self-loathing, but in some places, but it's also very hopeful as well. It's all about growing up and all about self-esteem and how the self-esteem issues that you carry from childhood affect you as an adult, and how it affects you, how you conduct yourself in relationships and various other aspects of my adolescence. And also kind of, it's about accepting that, yeah, we sometimes need a bit of help, you know, and the sort of triumph over that, the triumph over the darkness and the bad at times. It was difficult to write so personally, but it also kind of happened naturally and by accident because of the lockdown, really. Normally I have things to point at, you know, but over this lockdown there was nothing going on. There was no social interactions, there was no pub chat. So it became a very introspective time, you know, and I spent a lot of time just looking inwards and thinking about being a kid and thinking about my mates and the ones who aren't here anymore, and one of my friends that we lost last year kind of spurred on a load of creativity. One of the tracks on the album is it's like a sequel to Dead Boys off the first record, so it's the final song of the second record, and it's kind of like it's like again, I said, a triumph over that time, you know. The songs that most resonate with me are, I'm pretty close with all of them, because a lot of them are personal. I think Spit of You, because that's one of them, because that's about my dad. 17 Going Under, because that's about being 17 in Shields and me and my mother and our experience at the time when we were skint. And The Dying Light, and maybe Last to Make It Home, because that was kind of, I feel like in the record that's if it was a movie, that's like the low point. If it was like that's a bit where kind of things are going wrong, and then The Dying Light's this sort of redemption, you know. What have I learned? I learned about this. I'm a self-deprecating little tit, and I need to be more forgiving of myself, I think. And that I'm a lazy bastard, because I spent so much time in that lockdown just sat in my joggers playing PlayStation. But I did write a lot of songs. I wrote 60 songs for this record, you know, so narrowed that down to 11 for the standard and 17 for the 17 Going Under for the deluxe, you know. So yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, that's probably all I learned.
lazy if you did 17 with 60 songs.